Titans.
This is the morning, afternoon, and evening edition of Titan TV News. I'm Connie Margarita.
And I'm Kristen Nimzik.
And this is all the news you need to know.
Vice President Dick Cheney's impromptu overnight stay at Afghan Air Base nearly ended in national tragedy when Taliban operatives attacked the entrance to the base Tuesday. Cheney was moved to a bomb shelter after the blast, which occurred at the main gate, killing at least 23 and wounding 27. Quote, "The attacker was trying to reach Cheney," said a Taliban spokesman in a release. The Taliban claimed to know about the vice president staying inside the base, but others find this claim highly suspect as Cheney only stayed because of poor weather conditions. The vice president was in Afghanistan to talk to the president about the future of the country and the problems coming from Pakistan. About 2 hours after the blast, the two men met privately for an hour. Then Cheney left to return to the U.S.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down a massive 416.02 points, its biggest one-day point loss since the day the stock market reopened after the September 11th attacks. On that day, the Dow lost 684.81 points. Stocks tumbled across the board Tuesday after declining markets in China and Europe, and a steep drop in durable goods orders triggered a massive sell-off on Wall Street. Quote, "The sell-off demonstrates somewhat starkly the interconnectedness of stock markets around the world," said Hugh Johnson, chief strategist at Thomas Lloyd Global Asset Management. Other factors contributed to the negativity, such as reports released the same morning showing the pace of home sales and price of homes sold lower than a year ago, and a report forecasting a drop in consumer confidence. Investors were also still digesting Monday reports that former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan says the economy could fall into recession by the end of 2007. Reports that Vice President Dick Cheney was the target of a terrorist attack did not help matters. There was some optimism from experts, however. Quote, "We probably will see a decline of about 4 or 5%, and then it will be done," said Harry Clark, CEO at Clark Capital Management, noting that a lot of the selling will be washed out within the next week or so as the shock from all the bad news wears off.
A European spacecraft named Rosetta executed a close flyby of Mars on Sunday, a crucial maneuver in the 10-year voyage through the solar system to make the first soft landing on a comet. It was a maneuver the craft was not designed to make, taking it into the Mars shadow where the solar panels could not generate electricity to keep it alive. The original Rosetta mission would have taken it on a course where it did not fly through shadow, but a launch delay forced the change to a different target comet.
International sanctions are to blame for half of the Palestinian population being dependent on food aid, a United Nations report has said. The international community cut off aid to the Palestinian Authority after Hamas won parliamentary elections last year. Along with the weakened economy, overall poverty has risen in the region, making many families unable to pay for necessities like food. To tackle the growing food needs, the World Food Program increased its food assistance by 25% in the past year. Currently, 1.1 million of Gaza's 1.4 million residents depend on outside food assistance, placing the Palestinian territory on the list of World Food Program 100 global hotspots. Arnold Verkin, World Food Program Country Director, said, quote, "Nearly half of the Palestinian population is thought to be food insecure. It is at an alarming level. Malnutrition indicators include patients being underweight, wasting, and stunting."
Over the years, students at DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana have attached a negative stereotype to the Delta Zeta chapter, as evidenced by the survey that Pam Propsum, a psychology professor, conducts each year in her class. The Sisters of Delta Zeta, more commonly known as ZDs, were seen as socially awkward because many of the sisters, quote, "were less about image and more about academic achievement and social service," according to Professor Robert Hirschberger. Worried about the stereotype, the DZ's national officers interviewed 35 DePaul members in November, quizzing them about their dedication to recruitment. They judged 23 of the women insufficiently committed and later told them to vacate the sorority house. The 23 members included every woman who was overweight. They also included the only Black, Korean, and Vietnamese members. The dozen students allowed to stay were conventionally pretty women the sorority hoped could attract new recruits. 6 of the 12 were so infuriated they quit. This is not the first time that DePaul chapter of Delta Zeta has stirred controversy. In 1967, DZ's national leadership has tried unsuccessfully to block a young woman with a Black father and a white mother from joining its DePaul chapter. More recently, in 1982, it attracted national attention when a Black student was not allowed to join, provoking accusations of racial discrimination. The president of Delta Zeta, which has its headquarters in Oxford, Ohio, and its other national officers declined to be interviewed by the New York Times or CNN.
And now a word from companies we wish were our sponsors.